And going on past that, how did you start? Because I know the big thing I feel like really put you on the map was, your work with D.R.E, obviously.
Yeah.
Could you go over like how that whole relationship got established? And
Yeah, so I flew out to L.A. Look, I was, starving artist. I might have a couple of records or whatever, but still broke. So I went out to L.A. to do an open mic, and I was a keyboard player for this. It was also a roots-based open mic thing. And they was like, yo, we need you to play keys on this thing. And I was like, cool, I'll play. It was like a women in music series called The Black Lily. And I was at the Martini Lounge in LA. And I ran into one of my homegirls from Philly. And she was there. I didn't expect to see her. She was just out in LA now. And I was like, what are you doing here? And she's like, yo, I got signed to Dr. Dre. And she's like, yo, you were always mad cool to me. I want you to come down and, show Dre, maybe, there's some synergy there and you can, play the piano for him or whatever, play him some beats or whatever. I didn't have any beats with me, so I had to play the piano for him. So I went down. By the way, that person was Eve, the rapper that put me down with Dre. And she had signed to Aftermath for a while. And then she was moved to Rough Riders, after a while. But, I went down to see Dre in the studio and I waited in the lobby for hours and he finally came out and said, yo, Eve said you're pretty dope, whatever, let me hear some shit. And I was like, well, I can just play the piano for you and see if, there's anything there. So we went into this live room. I was nervous as shit. And I was just like, I need to play some scary ass, like ominous type shit for Dre. And I started playing like some like cool like stuff, just randomly, anything off the top of my head, nothing planned. And he's like, after a few minutes, he stopped me. He left the room. I was like, I don't think he's interested. He came back with this other dude named Larry, who was like his, day-to-day kind of manager guy. And they were like, look, here's a key for this hotel. Here's a big chunk of money. We want you to stay here. I was supposed to go back to Philly the next day. All right. And we were staying at this hotel. It was a rundown shitty hotel in LA. And he's like, yo, I want you to stay here and just help me make this album, this new Chronic album I'm making. I was like, okay. And I knew I was facing back in Philly, being like 2 months behind in rent.
Fuck that.
Bro, all fucked up. Like, and I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna just do it. Do what I gotta do. Now I had rent money. I could pay my rent. I could stay and do what I had to do. So I went to go back to the, this is real talk. Like, I'm not trying to like, whatever. But when I went back to the hotel with the rest of the Roots members that were there and we were doing this open mic, I told them what happened. And they're like, oh man, you fucking 5 years too late working with Dre. Dre's done. I was like, yeah, all right, cool. Dre's done. I'm fucking going to play with Dr. Dre. And we went on to make Eminem's album, the Chronic album, 900 million other hits. So I guess Dre wasn't done.
No,
it was just some hater shit.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, yeah, just stepping back a little bit, just like, even just, was it kind of like surreal? Like you're sitting in the lobby, all of a sudden Dr. Dre comes out, legend of the game.
No, it was legend. It was legend. When I went back the next day, Snoop Dogg was in there. And I'm like smoking weed and rolling up with Snoop Dogg and hanging out with all kinds of people, like classic people.
Like, what the fuck legends. Is going on? Yesterday I have this, and now I'm smoking with Snoop Dogg.
And they treat me like family.
Yeah.
They treat me like family.
How are their sessions like? Are they just vibing the whole time? Like how are those sessions like with them?
It's like Dre's like the conductor, and he's got the orchestra, and he's kind of like pushing everybody to their fullest potential and like making the most of everybody. And he's able to hear what everybody's playing and diagnose it and interpret it and like pick the best of everything.
So he's got the nastiest ear.
We have every toy that there is on the market. We had every keyboard, everything. And at that time, we did all our beats on MPC 60s. And like we had like 5 MPC 60s all chained together through the whole room. Like I had one, Dre had one, Melman had one, Mike Elizondo had one. There was an extra one, like, and we were just recording all at the same time. Dre had the like leading one. You press play start on his. All the MPs are starting. So we assign our own MIDI channels on our each rig and just start noodling. And, you know, just got shit done. Sometimes it was different. Sometimes it was just me and Dre. You know,
yeah.
A lot of times.
What did he teach you like the most, like production wise? What was like the most valuable lesson you think he taught you?
Just being original.
Yeah.
Being like, you know, the person to come up with something different, and that thing that pokes you in the eye and like you've never heard before is going to get your attention more than something you already heard.
Like he has like you always hear like the craziest sounds in his songs. Like there has to be, I can't imagine what the studio sessions are like. Like
bro, they went to all
sounds.
different kinds of levels, like all different kinds of levels to get shit. Like he's not scared to like do shit. I came into the studio one day to a session and there was a song called Buried Alive.
Yeah.
And like Dre had like in the live room bags of sand, a shovel, and like a thing that was like put down on the floor just so he could get the sound effect exactly how he wanted it, of like digging like a hole, like with the sand and the shovel and the whole shit, and like just shit like that. And like, you know, that's like a whole other level of shit, like going there.
It's just meticulous.
Yeah, meticulous.
Oh my gosh. So you work with him this first time, right? And obviously first session you guys did, was that still Dre?
No. The first session that we did, we made a song, believe it or not, that made the Chronic album the very first day. And that was like, I think, a big part of why they like really inaugurated me into the fucking fam. We did Big Egos first day. I don't know if you know that song, but it's on the Chronic.